Hello guys, today I want to talk to you about a great plugin that I came across called Soothe 2 by Oeksound. If you record a lot of strings like I do, it will save you a ton of time. Let me show to you what it does. So here I have a couple violin tracks recorded. The violin is very rich in overtones, and when you look at it on the frequency spectrum, it's just resonant frequencies. It will be really a mess to mix all of this eventually, and right now even it sounds very harsh, especially if you listen on earpods or any like small earbuds. It will really poke your ears. It's not gonna be pleasant. So we want to get rid of all these things. How do we do that? We could do it manually, as most people have done it for a long time, which would be this method. So we kind of find them. Here's one. Oh, this one for sure. Hear that? This one right here. We want to really take this down, yeah? So what I would normally do is really scan through the entire track, through the entire violin track, and just try to get these down because they're really sharp. Okay, this one needs to get down as well, like so. The problem is though, with an instrument like the violin, which is so rich in overtones, it looks like a bell. You can see those spikes everywhere, and they travel with the pitch. So if the pitch changes in the violin voice, those resonant frequencies are going to change, and you just have to filter through everything. It will be just a nightmare. You would just have to take down everything. Here it is. This is the factory default preset, and you can see what it does here. It dips those resonant frequencies. You don't have to do it by yourself manually, which is a huge time saving. And there's a couple things how you can modify this. You can change the depth. You can go all the way down to minus 12 dB, which is an aggressive cut. I would be a bit careful with that, because otherwise it will change the characteristic of the sound. It will just sound really flat and uninteresting. You want a little bit of shimmer on the sound. And then there's the sharpness knob, which is basically a cue for the EQ. You see how much sharper it is. It's really like needles going down. It will create some artifacts though if you go super sharp. So I would keep it for the violin. Bang in the middle, 5.4 sounds good to my ears. Then selectivity is another thing. It finds even more peaks. So it really depends on how aggressive you want to duck those resonant frequencies. You also have an attack and release knob. If you know how to operate a compressor, you will know what that means. Attack, how fast those frequencies are going to be ducking, and the release is basically how long those frequencies are going to be ducked after they have stopped sounding. There's also a hard setting, which is, I would not use this on a live instrument because it sucks too much life out of it. So I would keep it on the soft setting here. You can scan through it here and find what frequencies need the most reduction and which ones are the most painful in your ears. When it comes to violin, I would say between 2 and 5K. This is where you will typically find those. About 3.4 I find is quite a harsh spot. The nice thing also is there's a ton of presets. So for instance, there we have even for mastering there's a preset. Piano, sound design, vocals. I think it also works as a de-esser actually. Yes, there we go. There's a de-esser. There's a couple presets by some really famous people. So you can try those and tweak them to your liking. And then there's the orchestra one, which is especially interesting for me. And this one is actually the one that I use the most, the close mic'd strings, because I usually record at home. I don't have the whole room mic setup and everything, so I just go for a close mic strings, and then I just modify it with reverb, and I try to create spaces that way. But this one, it really helps a ton. So if I choose this preset, let's see what it does to the sound. You see that's already way better. You can experiment a little bit, tweaking it, maybe going for the hard setting. The thing is, if you go too crazy with this stuff when you go for sharpness max and depth. You will start hearing some artifacts, and I would just keep it at soft, especially for violins, and somewhere in the middle with the sharpness. Maybe this sounds good. I mean, the way the preset is set up, I think is pretty much spot on. So here I have a little background violin, panned slightly to the right, so it makes space for everything. So what I have here is a very basic EQ first, just to get the lower frequencies and the mud out. And then I put my beloved Soothe on there to get really the spikes out. Here you see there is something around 3 points. That's usually, I feel like, the troubled area, around 3 to 4K. So there's a little background violin here going, pumping nicely from the LFO tool. Then I have this little thing on the left. Okay, let's clean it up here. And for some context, this is what it sounds like all together. So yeah, for all you string players, highly recommend it. Soothe 2 by Oeksound. Check it out. It's amazing. I think they have a trial version that you can download and see if you like it. I love it. I think it's super helpful. So if you record a lot of strings and you're having trouble with harsh strings and harsh violins, it does a tremendous job at cleaning it up. I'm so used to it in my workflow now that I would not want to spend hours again listening to resonant frequencies. Also, it's not very pleasant for your ears. Hope that was helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.